Yeah, 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 yeah.
Coming to you from Grand Rounds Brewing Company and Restaurant,
You ride it right,
our town.
crash it so the sparks can come together. Don't need a reason why the universe was made. It goes on and on.
And glad you're with us from Grand Rounds Restaurant and Brewery, downtown Rochester. I'm Eric Olson. Children's Museum. They've been here as guests on our show before, but they've had some big news here in the last week or so, and looking at maybe expanding their operations just a little bit. Something called Innovation Experience Center. Heidi Mestad joins us. Welcome.
Hi, thanks Eric for the opportunity.
So, for folks who haven't been there before, there are probably one or two watching only.
Right, that's it.
Your space presently, what do you do there, and why are you looking for something a little different?
Yeah, so the current location has been there 5 years. It's around 5,000 square feet. And I'm just going to step back a brief moment. So the Minnesota Children's Museum has been in existence, or a children's museum concept has been in Rochester 10 years. And I know some people don't realize that. It was all started as a really engaging kind of parents that started up, a lot of them from IBM and other kind of agriculture manufacturing, that they wanted to get different hands-on experiences for the kids here. Then it morphed. That was 5 years. Then 5 years ago, it had bricks and mortar to say, let's test this concept here. Perfect partnership with the Minnesota Children's Museum in St. Paul to really match their kind of outreach opportunities. So here we are 5 years later. We are ready to grow. The community is excited for us to grow. Our members are looking for additional experiences and to age up. So now we need to respond. So I was, brought in about a year and a half ago to say, now what could it be? If we have an opportunity to build a new museum, what's the most relevant experience that we can do for our region?
And what does that mean, Innovation Experience Center?
Great question. So right now it's a placeholder name. We know that a largest age gap is 8 to 15. We also know 12, 13, 14-year-olds will not go to a children's museum.
Age gap.
8 to 15.
You mean that are not going
Oh, great
to the
question.
museum,
That doesn't
or-
have a lot of services in our region.
Okay.
So there's unless you're in sports, but there's also a lot of different things that kids are into. We know that kind of technology is coming in. So how do you merge technology with hands-on experiences and really aim it to cultivate, inspire kind of our youth and our workforce for the future?
Boy, isn't that a good point? I
know.
mean, I serve on the YMCA, and it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Teens.
Yes.
Video games.
Yes.
Something else
Right.
besides that.
Right. So so that's the reason why it's a placeholder name, Innovation Experience Center. So we need to rebrand, but it's the same experiences inside. So what does it mean? It means that when a family walks in, they say, oh my gosh, there's a little something here for everyone. If it's the grandparents, the parents, the teenager, the younger brother or sister. And so you really can interact with different components, intergenerational. And the main takeaway really is we get to make and play in the Maker Tinker space. We get to do a little bit of this kind of weather channel and learn about perhaps Watson and what happens there. We can interact with the double helix and kind of the genome, and also take certain kind of slices. So it's really we're such a science-based technology town, so it integrates science technology into playful experiential learning.
Oh
so
my
that's what you
gosh.
get out of it.
I think I'll just color in the corner
Thank you.
and forget
No,
about all
you've
that
just
stuff.
got it, yeah.
Sounds like a lot.
Yeah.
But the idea is, and all joking aside,
Right.
is I didn't know that. So when you leave, you come into the experience and there's something there that captures you.
Right.
So that when you are heading out, you say, I didn't know that.
Right. So when you walk in, it's, oh, how great. And when you leave, you nailed it. I didn't know that. And the reason why is two big gaps that we have in our community, because we need to grow with all of the other big initiatives happening. We have Journey to Growth, we have Destination Medical Center, Rochester itself has its comprehensive plan. And everyone continually says our biggest gap, is the workforce gap. And then also our experience gap. People are leaving this area to go have experiences other places. And so when we say, I didn't know that, we also want to build that kind of sense of pride and place for our community. So I didn't know, Kemp's is one of the largest dairy distributions in the United States, and I drive by it every day.
Just what was your big announcement this week? You had a press availability. Talk about that a little bit, and what residents watching who support you, what they can do
Yeah.
in your process.
So the overall, we've gone through, we're in 11 months of our 18-month strategic plan, and on Monday we unveiled to really try to help explain what is those experience in an innovation experience center, just like you asked. What's inside of it? What does that mean and what's the impact? So we unveiled that on Monday, some renderings and some narrative descriptions. Now with that, we're going to look to narrow down some sites and really start saying where could be the best permanent home to maximize the impact of that. Of this Innovation Experience Center.
And folks can be members of your organization. I suppose that's the best way to show support.
Absolutely, membership and really right. As we continue to move, this takes a whole village. And so, you have your legislators, you have your community leaders, and so membership coming to support the current museum, and then writing letters about, and writing even on social media to your own constituents that you're excited or you're ready for something like this. All of our membership has said that in our feedback surveys, but it's also good to have the larger perspective of.
Wonderful. Thanks for your energy and for your update here, Heidi Mestad.
Yeah, thanks so much, Eric.
Our Town is brought to you in part by the following amazing people and organizations.
The new Clements Subaru proudly partners with award-winning KSMQ Public Television. Clements Subaru of Rochester. Clements' clear value promise is to make buying a Subaru fast, fair, and simple. The Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund and the citizens of Minnesota.
And the members of KSMQ Public Television. Thank you.
Stay with us. Coming up on Our Town, we learn what IBM does to inspire so many patent ideas. We find out how Rochester Public Transit accommodates wheelchair patrons, and we look back at the 75th anniversary celebration of the city's founding. Up first, we get spiritual with Rochester women on this week's Our Culture segment.
My name's Terry Allred, and I'm the producer of the Women in Spirituality Conference. We're at the Women in Spirituality Conference at the Mayo Civic Center in Rochester, Minnesota. The Women in Spirituality Conference is a two-day gathering of people from many different faith traditions and spiritual belief systems for us to learn from each other, create community, dialogue, experience healing, and shop, because we have a lot of wonderful vendors. So you are going to find an exhibit area with about 80 exhibitors. The exhibitors vary in terms of selling merchandise like jewelry or gemstones and rocks or singing bowls. And then a lot of the exhibitors do massage or tarot readings. We have intuitives who are both psychics and mediums, and you can get spiritual direction from them. And then we just have people who are here from nonprofits in town serving women. And finally, we have people who have created amazing pieces of art that women are interested in. Well, I actually did not start the Women in Spirituality Conference. It was started 35 years ago in Mankato by the Women, and now it's called Women and Gender Studies Department at the University of Minnesota in Mankato. And it was started to be a gathering place for women, very similar to the mission that I have continued with. And they held it for 35 years there. And then they found out that they weren't going to be able to continue to have it, and started looking for someone to produce it. And I came to them because I heard about their need. And so this is the very first year that we're having the conference in Rochester, but it will be an annual conference now. we, as a part of the conference, we have a maker space, and it's a place where people can come and create art, even if they don't think of themselves as artists. It was created by Tiki Garcia. She's got 11 art projects that will be happening over the 2 days of the conference. It's free and open to the public, not just for conference participants. So Cassandra Buck did La Mesa del Done is the name of a Month of Women art exhibit. And so we've got amazing women artists who have expressed their art about their healing or their spirituality, and it's all on tour for people to be able to experience throughout the 2-day weekend. It's really important right now in our world to understand other people and to respect other people. And I hope that this conference will give people a chance to meet people from different faiths. We tend to normally be in our own little world and be with our community. And so we're trying to broaden that community to be a diverse representation of all of the spiritual traditions that influence us in trying to make the world a better place.
For more information about this story and other Our Town features, connect with us on Facebook, Twitter at KSMQ #OurTown, or ksmq.org/OurTown.
Maybe my patience and my motivation are put on separate teams. Maybe I found someone I really need.
And one of the things I love about this job is I never know what I'm going to learn about next. Here's one. If you see someone in a bathtub high above the city streets of Rochester next week, not to worry. Ron Simon is just trying to get your attention. Beginning Tuesday, October 3rd, he will be in the tub for 3 continuous days to raise awareness about domestic violence and, in particular, the services of Rochester's women's shelter. For more information about that journey, check out roninatub.com. And if you're a fan of superheroes, reading, running, check out the Superhero Dyslexia 5K on Saturday, October 7th. Coming right up, this event helps support the Reading Center programs and scholarships. Dress up as your favorite superhero and meet your friends at Soldiers Memorial Field Park. It starts at 9:45 a.m. More information at thereadingcenter.org. Open auditions for the next Rochester Civic Theater Company performance, the 1940s Radio Hour, will take place Monday, October 9th from 7 to 9 p.m. The holiday musical features a live broadcast from a bygone era of radio. If you are interested in a singing part, be sure to bring some sheet music. More information is at rochestercivictheater.org. If you are a senior, 55 or older, experience a chronic condition such as arthritis, COPD, high blood pressure, consider joining the Elder Network's Conversations series. The next meeting will be Monday, October 9th at 2 p.m. There is no charge to attend. Find out more at elder-.org. Well, coming up next, instead of walkabout this week, we have wheel about. Join Danielle as she finds out how residents navigate Rochester's public transit system in a wheelchair.
This is Danielle Teal with Our Town Walkabout. We're downtown Rochester, and we're about to take a ride on the bus. You have to be patient in this life, don't you?
Yes, very much.
Number 9 is here.
Yeah.
And, oh, there it comes out. Oh, great. Wow, there we go.
Go ahead, Charlie. Yep.
And then you're gonna hook him up to the thing so he's not flying all over the place, right?
Yep.
That's good.
Good afternoon. Hey, how's it going? I've ridden on this number 9 for 5 years when I used to live over at Valley High Drive in Evergreen. So you get to know the people.
Good seeing you again.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
You're amazing. Okay, now it's starting to rain.
Hey,
All right, we're really booking it.
can you tell the number 9 that's going right by St. Mary's that I'm trying to catch him? Can he wait up? Oh, he just tell him I'm right.
Okay, I think he's stopping.
All right, thank you. Bye.
So Charlie, we called again, and you got information because we just missed the bus by mere seconds. You were rolling, I was running, and we did not make it.
No, it didn't make it. And that's how it is sometimes.
It's really pouring now.
Yeah.
We're waiting for the next bus. Charlie and I have hit torrential rain a little bit, but the bus is almost here, and we're about to head back downtown. This is Danielle Teal with Our Town Walkabout.
They're number 1.
Find out from these two why IBM is good at inventing. Coming up next.
Our past, remembering what made us who we are today. Brought to you by the History Center of Olmsted County.
Despite heat and storms, Rochester was abuzz with activity as it celebrated its 75th anniversary in 1929. The 4-day celebration began with a carillon concert for Homecoming Day. Industrial Day featured the coronation of the Queen of the Diamond Jubilee, Arlene Town. A parade of more than 100 floats and a dozen bands traveled along 15 blocks of downtown Rochester in front of some 40,000 people lining the streets. After a banquet and concert for honored guests, the party continued until midnight. A heavy storm threatened to put a damper on activities, but according to the newspaper, many people paid little heed to nature's untoward demonstrations. Transportation Day featured another parade, including airplanes flying overhead. Later, a flying exhibition was held at the newly dedicated Rochester Airport. In the evening, the Rochester Park Band played its season opening concert. The Jubilee closed on June 12th, Rochester Day, with an address by Governor Theodore Christensen. By all standards, it was a fete to be remembered.
Big Blue breaks annual U.S. patent record. That was the headline earlier this year.
About 500 of those patents originated right here in Rochester. Joining us today is Tory Johnson, Vice President, Supply Chain Engineering, and Jason Sosa, Counsel and Manager, IBM Patent Center. Welcome to our town.
Yeah, we're glad to be here today.
What is in the water over there? How do you build this culture of innovation over at IBM?
Yeah, it's part of our history. It's part of our DNA. For 106 years, IBM has been in existence. Innovation and technology is what has made IBM special. And if you look through history with the inventions in our industry, like hard disk drives and the first mainframe computers, it's actually gone beyond that. And our IBM researchers have invented UPC barcodes that we use every day. LASIK eye surgery is one of my favorites because it's something that I've actually had done. So, you know, IBM research has changed my life. So it's a big thing for the company. We spend about $6 billion a year in research, which is really huge. But beyond that, it's just the little things, I think, and the softer things. So in the last couple of years, for example, we've created more open workspaces to enhance collaboration so teams can share ideas, because most ideas aren't just one person coming up with it alone. It's the spark of an idea that somebody else builds on. And so that collaboration, that open work environment, agile work environment we call it, is really, really important. The other thing we've done is we've created break areas where employees can disconnect, because we're so connected nowadays and there's so much on our plates, our minds get full. We believe creativity is kind of the mindfulness thing, that people need some downtime. We've got ping pong tables, special break areas where people can rest, collaborate, create some space in their mind to do more innovation. So we're really proud of what we've done, but we want to take it to another level, and I think that's a big part of it.
And Jason, you work on patents today, what we're talking about, like in the
That's
modern
right.
era. So you want to give us any tips on what you got coming? Any breaking news you want to have today? What's your...
Unfortunately, I'm not allowed to share breaking news.
Some old news is fine.
Not until the patent's complete, then we can share.
There you go. But are you constantly, what is the role? It's not just we have a new product, go and register it. talk about the patent process. It's very complex.
It is complex, and it covers a lot of different aspects, so that the innovators that we have in Rochester and across the country, but we do have a great innovation team here, they really work on not only their own products, but as they're working in their general day-to-day lives on their IBM products, they'll have other great ideas and they'll submit those as well. And then what we do is we'll sit down with them and talk about their idea. To the extent that we can help kind of suss it out, but for the most part, they're pretty sharp. And what we do is really want to get a really good understanding of what their invention is, what their idea is, and then we'll add our own legalese around it, essentially a long application, a technical specification in which we really try to explain in detail what their invention is, and we'll submit that to the patent office, and then 2 to 4 years later we might get a patent.
Yeah, and the process can be really intimidating for people, so we really focus a lot on first-time inventors that share with them that a lot of ideas that they're not even sure is patentable is actually patentable. And then the process is not as complicated as it sounds. So Jason and his team spend a lot of time encouraging first-time inventors. And once they get started, we find that they keep going. And we've got over 70 master inventors with hundreds of patents here in Rochester alone.
Right. That's really a great point. I was going to say, if we can get them to give us the idea, we'll take it from there, right? So don't worry about the process, just think, right?
Yes, you do all the hard part of trying to
there you go.
get through that. We hear about patents quite a bit, actually. It's a pretty common term, but how does it differ from like a trademark or copyright? How does it protect your intellectual property, your invention?
Sure. So a copyright's going to protect the essential, the actual words on the paper, for example, right? No one can copy that specifically. A trademark is going to protect a particular use or a phrase that's going to be associated with your business. Now, a patent will actually protect the idea, right? And so that's the key difference. It's not the particular implementation of it, it is the idea of it in and of itself. To the extent that made sense.
Well, yeah, but isn't it easy in this day and age? There's global problems with theft of intellectual property ideas, and with the internet the way it is, how do you even control your genie once it's out of the bottle?
So that's a great question, and I think that is something that patents are really great about. So the idea of a patent is that we actually disclose to the public what the invention is, right? So that technical specification that we put together is published and is available online, and so anybody can see it, and actually the requirements are that they have to be able to, a person of skill in the art can recreate. So we actually give it to the public. And how we enforce that is if somebody then practices it, we have a limited amount of time where we have exclusivity and can say for the next however many years of enforceability left, 20 years from filing, you can't practice that particular invention, right? So we do actually give it to the public. I think you'll run into more issues when you go across country lines, but internal to the U.S., it's a pretty safe and secure system.
And so Rochester has had 500 patents that have come out of the site here. Are there any that you've been particularly excited about, or any that have made a big contribution or impact to the wider sort of world, the IBM
except for LASIK surgery.
Yeah,
that wasn't here. Yeah. We can't claim that here.
What can you claim? Yeah.
We really have a proud history of, in our 60 plus years here with AS400, System 36, a lot of hardware development, software development. A special note is our Blue Jeans supercomputers that we came out with in the last 10 years and led the world in that category. We're working on the next generation here in Rochester with teams all over the world that will come out next year, the next supercomputer. So patents all around that, and also quantum computing is a new thing where quantum computers have been around for a while. It's a new way that traditional computers to solve problems that they can't do. And IBM's working on the first commercially available quantum computer, and a team here in Rochester is working with IBM Research on that. So patents around that too.
Is it tough for a team to stay motivated? You're all working on little bitty parts of this project, I'm assuming, or guessing, and you're toiling away at research and everything, and you seldom get to see the final product or something give birth. Is that a challenge to just stay focused on it?
I don't think so. I mean, first of all, our engineers and programmers and scientists, they love their work and they love working on the technical things. So I don't think that's challenging. What we try to do is say, innovation that matters. We want to be essential to the world, IBM does, and that's the bigger purpose we try to, establish with our employees, that even though you may be working on a small bit of this, you're working on a bigger purpose like artificial intelligence and other inventions that are going to change the way we live. And I think that's what motivates our employees, that they're part of something bigger.
Sure. And speaking of artificial intelligence, how would that work in the real world? Some of the things that you're thinking about, as much as you can tell us.
Well, first of all, I think you see Watson in commercials, and that's really IBM's version of artificial intelligence. We're leading the way. One thing you'll never see is Watson alone in a commercial, because we believe artificial intelligence is to support humans, not replace humans. So we're not afraid of it. We embrace it. The idea is it will help all of us make better decisions, provide us more information. An example is Watson working on oncology, working on cancer treatment. There is so much research, so much publications on cancer alone that medical professionals just don't have the time to go through all that. Watson can help peruse all this data, give a recommendation to a doctor, not make the decision, but a recommendation on what the data says for that doctor to make the decision. And there's been new treatments, to patients around the world because of insight from Watson.
That's fascinating. Tory Johnson, Vice President, Supply Chain Engineering. Jason Sosa, Counsel and Manager, IBM Patent Center. Thank you both very much for keeping it simple so even I could understand this complex subject. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
And thank you for joining us today. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Facebook.
Our Town will be back next week talking about Rochester's Fatherhood Network.
See you next time on Our Town, the show about Rochester.